Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a piece of technology that's so common we barely even notice it anymore. But its invention tells this incredible story about trust, chaos, and really how we manage to live together.
Okay, so let's set the scene. In the beginning, intersections were just open. Anybody could cruise into a crossroads from any direction, at any speed, whenever they wanted. No rules, no signals, just total freedom. And, for a little while that was fine. But then, the intersections got popular.
And this is what popular looked like. By 1920, the United States was seeing over 12,000 automobile deaths a year. Think about that. In Detroit, the motor capital of the world, they were averaging one pedestrian death per day. It was just absolute carnage, because getting into that intersection was completely free. Now, of course, they tried to fix it, right? They put police officers in the middle of the street, but you can't scale that. You can't put a cop on every corner. They put up signs, but those are just suggestions, aren't they? They even tried to create social norms, like the vehicle on the right has priority. But that depends on everyone playing nice, and it completely falls apart the second someone's aggressive or just not paying attention.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the problem. In this chaotic system, the reckless drivers, the ones who just bully their way through, they got through the fastest. They were actually rewarded. Meanwhile, the cautious people, the responsible ones, they were punished for their patience. The whole incentive structure was totally broken.
But then, a turning point. August 5th, 1914, in Cleveland, Ohio, something new showed up. It wasn't another rule. It wasn't another sign. It was a mechanism. The very first electric traffic signal. And the idea behind it was, honestly, revolutionary. To get through the intersection now, you had to pay a price. You had to wait, you had to stop and burn a few irreversible seconds of your time. It was this tiny, mandatory cost, this friction, inserted right at the point where all the chaos was happening. And oh boy, did people hate it. The backlash was immediate. Drivers were furious. They called it an infringement on their freedom. Newspaper editorials were warning it would grind commerce to a halt. And you know what? The question was totally legitimate. Why should everyone have to stop just because of a few bad apples?
But here's the amazing part. The critics were dead wrong. That little bit of friction didn't slow things down, it sped them up. The number of cars that could get through more than doubled, because now drivers could move with confidence instead of just inching their way forward. Collisions, as you can imagine, plummeted. And maybe most importantly, trust became baked into the system. The traffic light didn't hold the city back. It's what made the modern city possible.
So, how did this simple device work so unbelievably well? Well, the genius of the traffic light really comes down to three incredibly powerful properties.
First, the cost was universal. You couldn't buy your way through the line. The rich guy in his fancy car waited just like the laborer with his cart. Second, the cost was small, but it was irreversible. Just a few seconds of your life, gone forever, proving you were willing to play by the rules. And third, while the city put it there, you still had a choice. You could choose to drive through that intersection or not.
And what this all leads to is profound. The traffic light has no idea if you're the mayor or a plumber. It doesn't care if you're late for a meeting. It's just running on math. And because it's completely indifferent, everyone can trust it. You stop trusting the other person to do the right thing, and you start trusting the system. So, why are we talking about this? Why does a 100-year-old invention even matter today? Well, because we built another intersection, a digital one, and we made the exact same mistake.
Think about it. The open social media feed, the comment section with no rules, the chaotic group chat, every single place we gather online is an open intersection. And for 30 years, we've just let them run wild with no signals. And what's the result? Chaos. The loudest, the most aggressive voices always win.
So, a small team building on the Pulse Chain blockchain looked at all this digital chaos, and they didn't just try to build a better sign. No, they installed a signal. They call it the M-Flow protocol, and at its core is a small, irreversible burn of tokens. And look at this. The properties line up perfectly. A universal cost, an irreversible cost, and an authoritative placement, all driven by cryptography that couldn't care less who you are.
Now, this cost isn't a payment to anyone. When you participate, tokens get sent to a permanent address they call the fountain. They don't go to developers, they don't go to other users, they just cease to exist. They're gone forever. It's like a public declaration that says, I was here, I play by the rules, and I didn't expect anything in return for it.
And what's really cool is that this system isn't about how rich you are. It's about how deliberate you are. Every token has 18 decimal places, which creates this huge canvas for precise action. A tiny burn, sent with perfect precision, can actually mean more than a huge sloppy one. The machine doesn't care how much money you have. It cares that you were willing to stop and be careful.
So the real cost here isn't financial at all. It's human. It's the initiative it takes to even show up. It's the precision of your action. It's the time you invest and the record of quality that you build over time. You can't just buy those things with money.
They call it the protocol of light work. You get it? From a traffic light to light work. It's about creating mutual friction, just lightly organized. 100 years later, that simple invention from Cleveland is providing the blueprint for how we can build a better digital city. It all comes down to this kind of counterintuitive idea, one that's just as true today on the blockchain as it was on the streets back in 1914. To build a system where things flow smoothly and with confidence, you first have to prove you're willing to participate in a shared system of trust.
So, where does this go from here? Well, this digital city, it's not built yet. Right now, the network is open for its first volunteers, the writers, the curators, the gamers, who are going to help shape it. This is basically an invitation to jump into the experiment, give feedback, and help build it now before the next crypto bull market really kicks off. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.